All right, and welcome to the Dorman Lunch and Learn. I'm G. Trulia, and we're doing a walkthrough a new scan tool. And this new scan tool is basically this tool here, Auto Fix. So we'll be working on it, and most of the time, there's not slides, like I said, or a handout. We're going to be over here on this tool. Now, what does this tool remind you guys of out there? You can type it in. What type of tool does this look like? And you can see the word. It says, very good. Because it's powered by Autel. Now, I want to say this before we start. This is actually the first time I've used this. Never used it before. It comes with a wireless dongle. Okay. I have it plugged into my long wire that goes to the car so you can see what the dongle looked like. Okay. It does a firmware update, and this tool is under $400. So let's see what it can do. From what I've read on this thing, it's pretty neat. Let's take a walk through the front of the screen. So you can see here we got diagnosis, service, settings, data manager, battery test, that is a optional piece to buy. VCI manager, that'd be the VCI. When you do update, for example here, it will come up, and updates are free. This is from the company to tell me, free for 2 years. You can see for $119 in, and put the glasses on so you can see what year. In 2026, 9 of 2026, that's when you would have to buy an update. But between now and then, all these things are updated, all the different car lines. So that's pretty neat. And you can see here, you have a maxi view set up, and we'll go through them. Support, OE authorization, remote desktop, maxi tool. So you can do stuff here with different logins, collect different info. Quick link. So this usually takes you out to different websites. There you go. And look at that. Look on the bottom. TST. Tonight, by the way, we'll give a plug for TST. We have Keith Perkins on tonight. I forgot what the subject is. But yeah, they got everything right here that you can go in and click on. I haven't done it. It's really first time I am using the tool other than updating it. And look at that. It goes to the TST website. We'll pull it up. Oh. My browser's not supported anymore. What do you mean? So it seems to load it. We'll give it a second to go through. So I guess you have to do a Chrome thing or whatever, who knows. But at any rate, we're not going to waste time on that. So see, get Chrome, you got to download it. We're not going to do that. So let's go back and let's look at some of the stuff here. So service. So right here it says execute all DTCs. This can take some time. This is part, I'm going to get out of that for a second. And when we go in, it knows that I did look at this a second ago. So the first thing when you go in, I'll exit it. And we're not a Volkswagen, so no. We're going to do a auto. Sorry about fingers hit the wrong thing, so we'll say yes. Seems to beep at you as well. You hear the beeping? Pretty neat. So we're going to go in and do auto detect, and let's see what it does. So now it is supposedly going to detect the vehicle, and it knows it's either a Honda or an Acura. So that we're on an Acura here. This is a car in for service. That is the VIN number. Always look at the last four of the VIN. And 4701 is correct. Why would you want to do that? Mode 9 could have an issue. Someone could have put a computer in, and especially if you're going for inspection test in the emission states, very important to have the right VIN, but also very important to have the right VIN or you could have a problem. We had one, I think I've told you guys the story before, but for those who haven't heard it, about 3-4 months ago, we had a Ford vehicle in, came from another shop, needed a EVAP solenoid. That's what burnt the computer out. Had a check engine light for it. Make a long story short, we could not find this computer anywhere. No dealer had it. They said it was on back order for at least 3 months. AutoECMs.com, a great place. Nothing there as well. All the salvage yards, nothing. So Bill made his fingers do the walking, went on a Google search, and we found it somewhere in some godforsaken state out west. And we told them the VIN number. Bill read them the VIN number multiple times. And we said, we have the IDS and FRDS. We could program this thing ourselves. So not a problem. But they programmed it. We get it. The vehicle starts up. It looks like an early Christmas. Lights, codes, all because of the wrong VIN. So very important to do that, okay? And that would be mode 9 if your scan tool didn't pick it up. This one does. Go into mode 9 and look at it. Also tells you about calibration files, okay? Oh, thank you about what Keith is teaching. Appreciate that. He's doing Teaching Beyond Silver Bullets. Yeah, great class. And Keith Perkins, good instructor. Okay, so we're in the U.S. the last I checked. And it is a 2018 Acura RDX. That is correct. There's the VIN again. We're going to hit yes. Works exactly, we have Autels here, exactly like an Autel so far. Don't know what else it's going to do or not do, but let's see. So we have diagnostics, hot functions, service, and vehicle profile. Let's look at vehicle profile. I'll start backwards. And it should just give us everything there. So that's why I wanted to take that out of the way. Let's look at services. So you got maintenance, powertrain, chassis, body, and SCS. Let's look at maintenance. Reset with tool, reset without tool. Most likely that is the reminder oil light, okay? We're not going to press it because this is a customer's car, not mine. Powertrain, adjustments. Let's see what they're talking about, adjustments. And you can see it's communicating. So how many of you out there use Autel? So it has a crank clear pattern. This, by the way, is super important. Because if you don't do crank clear pattern, and it probably has a relearn after this, if we went in, it should give us a screenshot here. I'm not going to do it. There you go. Crank pattern clear and crank pattern learn. Why would you want to do this? You'd want to do this because if you didn't, it doesn't know the firing order. And if you think you had a misfire on cylinder 3, well, it may not be on cylinder 3. It could be on a different cylinder. Why? Cam and crank are not synced. So this is very important when you're working on a Honda or an Acura. Vehicle comes in with a misfire, you do a crank sensor or a cam sensor, or the battery went dead. Always do this crank clear and relearn. Very important. Okay. Let's get out of that and go back into the tool. Let's see what it has for chassis. Steering angle. Now you know that is super important as well. We can take a peek there real quick. I'm not going to press anything to adjust. but it'll give you a good idea. Don't forget about our upcoming TST seminar tonight. And don't forget about the Dorman training. There's still some seats at $50, which I can't believe, out in Warminster, PA at ATC. So we're not going to do this. We'll get out. And that is this coming Saturday. Now, sometimes I'll have to do this, turn the ignition on and off. So I got to lean in and do that, follow the directions. All right. Body, tire pressure, immobilizer, headlamp. Let's see what it says about tire pressure stuff. Now, Autel does make a great tool. I'm not sure if this works the same way, but I would assume so far everything I see here from O2 Fix seems to be the same thing. So, again, I don't want to press anything here, but let's look at Immobilizer. Whoa. Okay, so the tester cannot perform keys with the T5 stamp on the blade. So it looks like they want to take and we're going to get out of that. We don't want to go into the immobilizer here. And it doesn't want to go out of it. Let me see if I hit OK. Straighten this out a little bit. So we'll escape out of here. Headlamps. So it seems for a tool under $400, it is pretty nice. And look at this. You can do headlight commands, headlight on. I'm going to try one here, see if the headlight high beam actually came on. So Doreen will put the camera over to that. Look right there. Let me get out of it. Okay, you notice they're off? That's pretty hard to see, huh? There you go. There you go. So it actually does good bi-directional testing. That's great. And look how much you would normally spend on a scan tool that can do a lot of this stuff. So far, I'm really liking what I see here. This is really neat. So we're not going to continue here with this setup either. Let's get out of it. And hot functions. So this is neat. Hot functions, just like in the Autel software, you can do oil, you can do brakes, you can do TPS, you can do the battery setup, trying to get that glare out of the way. All right. So, you know, the battery management, a lot of these batteries, if you don't do a battery change command or calibration or initialization, you can run into quite a few problems. Brake bleed. Of course, this does not have a diesel in it. Immobilizer, injectors, the SAS, suspension, throttle, you know, and the door and roof stuff. So pretty good. Look at this, even more. Seats, tire change size, odometer, clutch, cylinder, headlamp, TEC relearn. I mean, they have a whole bunch of stuff. A lot of it may not be for this vehicle. And these things come in handy. I know recently when we did a transmission looking at this adaptation, we bought a transmission from ETE and it came with directions. And of course, if your tool couldn't do it, and we have the factory scan tool, we could have done it through there, but we used a scan tool, an aftermarket scan tool that did a good job. So always look what you have here. And by the way, on the odometer, be careful with that. Changing any mileage is against federal law if you're going to try to go backwards with something. And most of the vehicles nowadays not only put the mileage in the PCM, but it'll be in TCMs and it will be in ABS. They'll be hexadecimal type. So she tells me I have a question. I got to look there. Boop. All right. Well, Brandon, it did keys. Wow. So Josh says it did keys and no 10-minute bypass. Wow. So what does SCL stand for? SLC. Oh, SLC. You know, I'm not 100% sure on that one. I'll be honest with you. If anyone knows, if you can type that in, that'll be helpful. A lot of times different acronyms, when you don't know something like that, don't go further. And sometimes when you do go out a little more, it's going to show you what that is. I'm not sure, so maybe someone could help out. Maybe Josh, if you can Google that or something, that'd be great. So airbag, look at this. They have, but again, doesn't apply for every car. So there is start-stop function there. EGR, if you're on an Acura and a Honda, boy, do they need EGR. Transport mode, mostly for Euro cars. Make sure you're not in transport mode. And high voltage battery setting, accelerator, rain sensor, and vid odometer check. I'm going to do that just for the hell of it. Let's see what it comes up with. I'm curious. And again, this is, no lie, first time using this tool. I am impressed with something that is so reasonably priced. Now look at that. Tells you 98.96 on the gauges. This really has 99.04 miles on it. Okay. So a significant difference between detected and mileage values from various ECUs on your vehicle. And by the way, when you do with all the stuff that's cloud-based, you can run into problems. Don't do that. It is against the law. This tool have a pro version? Yes, it does. It does have a pro version. This is not the pro version. And again, wow, for something that don't have a pro version. Let's get into diagnostics now. And you could do by control unit. Let's look at that first so you can see the control units. And it is pretty extensive on what it'll do. Now, the best thing to do, we're going to get out of this, but you can see, you know, there's a couple of pages, 2 pages of stuff, right? Let's get out and let's look at auto scan. I'm not sure what hot systems are, but I'll press it. Usually all system scan would be your best bet. All right, you want me to read German now? English, sport, sporty, light, short, the version of Mercedes Sports. Oh, thank you. And that is Ed. Thanks, Ed. So that's if a car is equipped with it. You probably have a button somewhere on the dash or whatever, or on the console, and you can do that. So this says execute all tests. The check may take several minutes. Well, let's see how long it takes. 12:19. So it is going to scan through all of these. Seems to be going pretty quick. Look at that. We're on 7 modules checked so far in seconds, actually. We're not even at a minute yet. About another 5 seconds will be a minute. Okay, 1 minute it scanned 14 modules. That's pretty damn good. So the reason why I'm talking about that, the processors in a lot of different tablets could be way off. You know, they could be slow ones. This seems to be a really nice setup. Pretty impressive. So once I get this all up on the website and the company is going to send a direct link, it'll be in your handout. If you're interested, you go take a peek at it, you know. Actually, one of the guys that works for me, when he's seen this, he goes, hey, that's what I bought. And he likes it. So there, we're all set. You can get a report. Okay. Report to cloud. What was this during? V something? I'll just put V for now. Who cares? Straighten this out. Get that glare off. View the report. And by the way, to me, that looks just like a Autel report. It goes down the systems. They all look green. You can put customers' names and all that in there. And you could email from here. Again, I didn't set Google up on it. But if you set your browser up, you can do that. Okay, let's get out of here. Let's go back. Go back one more or escape. Let's do auto scan. Because this is a big all systems, and let's time this. So I mean, this may take a little bit longer. It's definitely something you should do on every vehicle you're working on, okay? Because not only do you want to, have backup info, you'd like to see what is wrong with the car. Maybe not a PCM problem alone, maybe a TCM, maybe ABS, maybe TPMS, airbags, who knows. So yes, if you came in late, no handout for now. The handout when I post the video. Waiting on something from the company on this. Basically, it's going through this tool, using it, and see what you can do with it. Okay. No, it does not have on this one. I did not see a map, a topography map. It may be in there, I could be wrong, but I don't believe it has it. I think on maybe one of their more expensive tools. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think even on Autel, you have to go up to a certain level tool before you get that. And thanks some of you guys, Josh and Daniel. Yeah, it does not have that. Okay, so we're here. We're going to hit yes. We're hitting OK. And we are 1 minute, 30 seconds in. Now, this is going to go through more systems than the other one, the way it looks to me. And, one of the things in the Autel class that we do, we show you some neat stuff, and we have hands-on classes throughout the country using an Autel tool. Check the Dorman website for that. But going through the tool, if you don't select something correct in the beginning, you may not get the topography map. So again, that's only on certain levels of their tool. Now, I'm not sure on O2 Fix here if they have a tool that actually does that. So Josh, do you know if they have a tool that will handle that? I guess Josh walked away from his keyboard. Yeah, I'm asking Josh. So he says no. So maybe they, okay, on the Pro, it does not. I don't know if they make a tool beyond the Pro, because I know they do sell quite a few tools. And we are 3 minutes into it. I just seen a code on something come up, and they're doing a lot more modules. And Josh is checking for us. Thank you. Okay. It had, Daniel says, had the topography? What model, Daniel, do you have? And we're not talking about Autel here, we're talking about Auto Fix. And they may have it. I don't want to say they don't. Okay, so the whole report finished in less than 4 minutes. You can see we got some faults. Let's look at the report. Report to cloud. And let's watch what the report comes up with. It's all nice. Obviously, you put more information about it. It has the mileage and all that. So same thing. We didn't see any DTCs there. But notice we didn't have this before. You got a blind spot problem. Now that is something that if you didn't run this and only did the hot things, that may be for something you want to do quick. It didn't take much more time, maybe another minute or so, right? So you got 2 DTCs in there that maybe you could tell the customer about or sell them something. Now permanent blind spot information here, left side, radar, permanent DTC. So it has 2 permanent DTCs in there that, hey, even if you're a body shop, you know, you can basically sell them some work here. They may not be aware of that. Oh, so someone, thanks Daniel, on O2 Fix Ultra Evo Scan has the topography. It's probably a lot more money. So thank you guys, and Josh came up with the same info. So pretty cool. So let's go into a control unit. Let's see what it does there. And on Hondas and Acuras, the ECM is where to go. Let's see what this comes up with. And of course, you can read codes, and it didn't have any, so it shouldn't have any now. Nothing detected. Readiness, a very important thing to do, even if you're not in a mission state. Readiness would really be helpful to you to see what's going on, okay? And what do I mean by that? So you see like the catalyst is complete. If it wasn't, you may send this vehicle out the door, and when you send it out the door, you may be getting a P0420. Not a good thing, right? So we don't want a vehicle to come back and a customer to be cranky with us. Heated cat, obviously not supported. EVAP, complete. No secondary air, no refrigerant. O2, O2 heater, and EGR all complete. Very important to look at that, okay? How many of you guys actually check monitor status? Because I know most people, obviously, would be in states without an emission program. And by the way, we don't care if a car comes in for an inspection or not. When we're diagnosing it here, we always look at this, okay? It's done all the time. Good, you can go, Mary. All right, so there's read codes. Freeze frame would be if there was a code in there. There's going to be nothing, I'd assume. Live data. Let's take a peek at live data. Our battery voltage is up top. We have a maintainer on low. You can see we have a fairly big list here. Now, when they do stuff like this, you see this air fuel bank one, and it's in red, tells you the range 1.4 to 1.4 in milliamps. It's not liking that. So that's a pretty neat feature right there. Bank sensor 2, same thing. May not be a problem, but at least it alerts you to take a look at it, right? And you can see here, things are in range. So like this bank 1 sensor 2, 1.4, 0 to 5 volt is what they like it at. So it looks like it has a good list of stuff here. There's EGR, and when you hit that little key, you could make it, look, I never liked that, but hey, that's pretty cool if you like looking at gauges. You can just do the analog stuff. You can do a graph and graph it out, which I really like. And you got Y and X axis right there. Little bar if it's moving. And your eyes are more out to see stuff like that. Information, EGR open ratio. And let's see what the last one. Question. So it talks about EGR flow rates. And it tells you the diagnostic results information about the EGR insufficient flow usually comes up with a 401. This is a ratio of current EGR flow to predetermined flow. Look at that, they give you quite a bit of info. That is pretty neat and something that should definitely be looked at. Now they did go in, I was just going to bring that up. On most Hondas and Acuras, one of the biggest problems is not the EGR valve. They use a reversible DC electric type of motor on it. The problem is the passages clog. The passages of EGR clog up. If you have one of the big cleaning companies, they all make EGR plates where you could unbolt, follow their directions, and put a cleaner through so you can get the passages cleaned out. Okay? So that is pretty neat. Any questions or comment on that? I think that's pretty self-explanatory. When you want to get out of this, you can just go back to analog. Now, if you graph stuff, so here I have a couple I selected. If you graph them, I think you can merge up to 6 of them. You could also move stuff to the top. So if we go back, oh, sorry about that. Quick fingers there. We can go back to live data. And if I want to move something that I want to see up top, so let me pick a couple of things here, there. Now, notice they're not up top right now, right? We go like this, they're right up top. And that way you can put, and again, I believe it is 6 of them. Let's see, merge graph. No, it's 4 of them. My mistake. So you can do 4 in a graph. And it's nice, gives you the TP, the APP, engine speed, vehicle speed, all there. You could clear the data and restart the graph. You could freeze it. You know, there's playback. You can record everything, which is kind of nice. Again, too quick of fingers makes a problem. All right, let's look at some active tests now. So you got EVAP, EGR. Well, let's see what it does for EVAP. Now, these are certain things here you have to know. Is it a single solenoid? I don't know for this car, I'll be honest with you. Probably multi-solenoids. Activates at the same time. Do not start the engine. So canister vent solenoid. Says it's on. Get out of that. This one says it's off. We'll let it go a little more. I don't know if there's an activation button. Yeah, the recording may be done by the end of the day, if not sometime tomorrow. I'll just give this another minute. Not sure if any other buttons are going to pop up. So any questions while we're waiting? Okay. We have a heavy-duty lunch and learn coming up probably in a week or so. We don't have the exact date, but Swede will be doing that. So if you're into heavy-duty, check that out. We'll send an email out soon about that. I'm going to just get out of this. And we'll get out of that, see what other stuff they have here. Let's see, functional test. Okay. So to give you a whole bunch of info here, is it less than 3/4? And by the way, sometimes better than taking your smoke machine out, do this. So it says remove the gas cap for vehicles with capless, use a funnel located in the trunk to open it, so they want it to vent. Don't know, but I think I got to get out of this as well. So sometimes be careful when you're playing with, it's going to fail the test. When you're playing with stuff, because I don't think I'm trying to see if I can get this open. Okay, put it back. Please start the engine. All right, let's see what happens there. Got to move the seat. All right, let's start it up. So this looks like it's doing the same test that a factory tool would do. And it will come up with results. And if it fails, you know, one of the things, if it fails, you know that you have a problem. If it passes, it does not set the monitor on this particular vehicle, but it tells you the work you've done on the EVAP system was good. And that's a good thing. So we got a few more minutes left here for this to go through. Can it connect to the gateway? Well, so far it seems to be going in to all the different computers. And if you're asking about one of the things that I seen on this, it says you got 2 years of going in on Chrysler vehicles, for example, in without going through. I think the tool is registered with auto auth. So it goes and works on those. This is I think it's a light, a D1 light. I'll show you the box a little bit later. Comes with a plug, the wireless dongle, and again, for something under 400 bucks, this is a great tool. Warm up failed. Okay. So at least we can now get out of that. Let me shut this off, just leave it in the key on mode. You know, how many of you guys have more than 2 scan tools in your shop? This may not be a bad addition if you don't own, you know, this type of version of a scan tool. What a great thing for a short amount of money, right? Let's keep looking here. We got EGR test. These are all the different tests that switch back to this. So VTech, radiator fan. Let's see if you can hear the fan come on. Always make sure everything is clear. You hear it blowing? So the stuff they have in here, it's like the real deal. It works, right? It works. Okay, so you got AC clutch. And by the way, on Acuras, a note on Acuras. Honda and Acura have problems with the AC relay causing parasitic draw. How many of you out there have had that problem? You could type a little Y in. If you had a Honda or an Acura, it'd go dead. A lot of times the relays get bad, and if you put a new relay in and it doesn't fix the problem, you know what you have? You got a problem with that compressor clutch. Now, Murphy's Law, you go put a clutch in, not a hard thing to do, right? But when you disturb something, now you may have a refrigerant leak. So what we usually suggest to the customer, like this 90-something thousand it had on it, if we had an issue with that, we would explain to them that a compressor would be the best way to go with a receiver dryer. Why do that? Because when that customer has an issue with their AC system not working right, and you just put a new clutch on, they're going to say, well, can't you give me credit for that clutch? And you're not going to get your money back, right? So just a word of warning. How do I know this stuff? Because we would always recommend, hey, you just need a clutch, we'll put a clutch on. You know, you got a 50-50 chance of maybe nothing happening. But when it does happen, sometimes consumers don't understand and think you're trying to pull something over them. And no one wants to pay for a repair that didn't work, but you warned them. Even if you put it down in writing, that was the last time we ever recommended a clutch. Put it down in writing, customer gets all bent out of shape, not worth the aggravation. So good, we have some people that went through that. Very good, okay. Let's continue looking on here. Fuel pump on or off. All injectors stop, one injector, cruise control, cylinder crank speed variation test, and idle stop check. Pretty impressive. Okay, let's look at adjustments. There's the crank. You know, one thing, it looks like they do the same as Autel, where they put it in the multiple places. And it looks like, to me, 100% Autel software here. So ECM, PCM reset. By the way, these functions are pretty much the same that I see on the Honda HDS software, because we have that tool as well. VIN check, let's play with that. And there's the check there if you missed mode 9. Replace ECM, PCM, throttle check, shipping mode release, and battery consumption history. Let's play with that. This function displays a recorded ignition on current draw as measured periodically by the ECU. 5 sets of data displayed, 5 ignition off periods, each with 4 data points. Do you wish to continue? Hell yeah. So let's look at latest history. Duration 0 hours, no data. 2 hour, no data, so all no data. Let's go here, 2 before. There we go. So duration 19 hours, ignition off 5.3 amps, it says. 1 hour later, 39 milliamps. That's pretty neat. It's a good way to check what, guys? Why would you want to go in here? Seeing if there's any parasitic draw. So a pretty damn good test. All right, that's pretty neat. So good special functions. Let's take a look at their transmission. Ooh, move that a bit. Let me just move that back. There we go. Read codes in the tranny. There should be none. Always do that, by the way, first. Let's look at live data, what they give you. And notice they give you a map reading here, the coolant, ECTs, APP, very important, baro. Don't forget to look at baro. Baro is another one that most techs don't pay attention to. They think it's not a big deal. If baro is off, you're going to have problems with fuel delivery, timing, and obviously transmission. Transmission temperature. Your shift solenoids, if they're on or off. Yeah, a lot of data. And some are only on and off switches, as you can see. And some obviously will tell you what's going on. So look at this. Distance traveled since battery connected in mileage. So dude must have had a battery in 17,000 miles ago. Let's look at active test. Shift solenoid test. You can put that on, and if it tells you what the amperage is, that'd be pretty cool. If not, you take your amp clamp and you can use a meter. You don't need a scope, but you could. Cycle shift solenoids on and off. So here's shift solenoid A. Once the ignition switch off. One great thing about Honda Acura, it'll give you a workout of opening and closing the door and going in there. Getting my miles in today. Now I got to turn it back on. And of course, it's always better to be sitting in the vehicle if you can do it. Listen to solenoids clicking for 30 seconds. I don't know if you could hear that click. I actually hear the click. Now, if you went down and put an amp clamp on, you could see the actual current. And that'd give you a real good indication that things are working. Wow, so some guys have 4 scan tools, very good. They all cost money, but you know what? They all come in very handy. So there's a whole bunch of stuff it can do here. Nothing else, just what's on that screen, which is nice. So we got special functions, and it's only a TCM, PCM reset. Okay. So look at ABS and traction. These are main systems. So what do you guys think about this thing so far? Wow, 12 scan tools. William, you're the man. Catching up. Okay. And by the way, ABS doesn't always work at low speeds. Always look at the speed it will record something on, okay? It does look pretty damn good and good for the money. Under 400 bucks, man. That's like, how can you go wrong? Yeah, so it looks like it has a lot of stuff here. If you guys are like a regular tech and, you know, you do side jobs or whatever, or maybe your own car, not a bad thing, right? So to give you, it looks like most of the important things to actually use. Let's see on adjustments. All senses, brake pad maintenance mode. Okay. And special functions. TPMS threshold. Let's look at the brake system for a second. So hydraulic boost, let's see what they want to do with hydraulic boost. Now, you know, one thing on all scan tools, sometimes they have stuff in there, but it may not be for that vehicle. I do want to warn you about that again. We're just going to get out of this. And sometimes it looks like you got to hit OK and escape. Look at gauges. Usually they do a gauge sweep. You can read codes. There should be no codes in the gauges. Live data. So now you can see maybe temperature gauges if they're reading correct. So there you go. You got speedometer. You got the miles. The master indicator off. On or off. Seatbelt indicator. Keyless. High beam. So now maybe in their bidirectional test, they probably have some stuff here that they're looking at that you actually can activate. And let's see those tests. Self-diagnostic functions, adjustments, gauge control, module replacement, maintenance information. Let's take a peek at that. And remember, that was on the maintenance screen, way easier to get to than going through all this. I'm just giving you a walkthrough of this tool so you can see what it can do or not. So right here, maintenance, 100%. the 5,000 miler, 10,000. I'm curious of just clicking on that gear. Okay, so it says main maintenance reset must be performed first if main maintenance and item 3 related maintenance have been done at the same time. So it's, the same thing you see on a factory tool here. It'll come up, you'll replace the cabin air, all that. We're going to cancel out of it. Inspect drive belts, all that. So it looks pretty good. I'm going to show you guys what it looks like, what it comes with. It does come with a carrying case. And we'll switch to the other camera here. Get this out of the way. All right, so here's the tablet itself. Not super big, right? But nice. Got bumper corners on it. Pretty nice. God forbid you drop it. It comes with a power cord. Comes with this connector that you could add USBs. And that's right here where you charge it. There is a little piece right here. I'm going to flip open. So right there, you can put even a slot in if you want to save more stuff, not use all the memory up on the board. 2 of these, so you can plug in. That's how I charged it up originally. And it looks like a regular USB-C type of setup. And then you got this in case you want to run some peripherals off it, right? Plug this in. You got 3 USBs, and if you want to connect to hardwire internet, you can do it there. The case, let's move this out of the way. And let's not forget the dongle again. Here's the dongle not connected, just by itself. So you can put this in the car. But here's what I'm going to warn you. You put it in the car without that wire, and I guarantee it gets left in the car, even though it beeps at you. How do I know? Oh, it's happened, right? And then you got to chase the customer down because they're too busy to bring it back to you, or you got to buy another one. So make sure you put a wire on it. Super important thing to do. And the case comes with, it looks like this, pretty good case in case you want to put it away and don't want to mess it up. It does have a book, and tells you what's in the packing of the unit, and a little book here, I think in a few different languages as well. But it gives you all the information pretty much you need. So this tool here from, pull it out, O2 Fix, pretty cool. Nice setup. I think for less than 400 bucks. It's kind of a steal. All right, let's just go over a couple of slides here and we get you on your way. Of course, I forgot what I did with the clicker. Here it is. So I will add a link later on and a couple of other things on here when the video goes up live. Then you're going to have a handout. Want to remind you about the Lunch and Learn coming up, heavy duty. Not 100% sure on a date. Swede's been out on the road. We've done some classes together, and he's out there, I think, doing a couple of heavy duty on his own. So I will try to find out, and Doreen will send an email out to you. We also have the all-day event, only a few seats left. For 50 bucks, you're going to see First Steps in Electrical Diagnosis with my buddy Pete Meyer. We'll be flying in from California. Maintenance Control and Air Fuel Drivability, the great Kenny Sanders, Mr. Smooth himself. And then you got to deal with me, real-world case studies right from this base, or it's called the Diag Buffet. Real stuff here. You get a free T-shirt. You get some light lunch, light breakfast, and a lunch, and be around a bunch of people. Okay, so now there are some questions here I'll go through before we let you go. Let's say, boop. Oh, Joe's Electric stand. Joe's a good dude. Does it show Toyota info and subcodes? I believe it does. And Josh, you've used it. You can't hear my big mouth? I'm sorry. 199 after 2 years is the update. Works well on hybrids, someone said. My guy Fernando here says he really likes it. And you could purchase a kickstand for it. Yeah, I should have asked Joe actually. I didn't even think of that.
Toyota info or subcode?
It shows, anyone answer that? Like I said, this is the first time it's ever been used on a vehicle by me. Okay. So I think it's pretty impressive without jerking with it, and that's not a lie. I didn't plug it in before or do anything. I think this tool has some good value for the buck. Okay. So I want to thank you guys for coming out. If you would be kind enough, to hit that QR code there. Do you think this was helpful? Not technically helpful, but give you a view at a tool. If you thought it was decent, give me a letter Y. If you thought it sucked, tell you what, give me the letter S today. How's that? So Y if it was okay, S if it was bad. We'll have another Lunch and Learn. We'll have Josh Weaver back with me next month. He's out in Illinois somewhere before he flies down to Georgia to do a class for a shop. So that's another thing from Dorman Training. You want us to come out to your shop? We need pictures of the shop. You need an area that you have, something we can do, a training room. We'll bring the projector. You got a screen, you got chairs and all that. We could be out there, and we've done this all over. I got a class coming up in Indiana. Swede right now is in Ohio. So we could come out to you if you're interested, and we can do a seminar or a hands-on vehicle, okay? More information, email Doreen at Dorman Training. When you want her email, just email me and we'll get that info to you. So from New York, G. Trulia, have a great one. Hopefully I'll see you Saturday down in Warminster, PA at ATC, Automotive Training Center. And until then, have a good one. Thank you again. Appreciate it.